Hi friends, I'm excited to share a new layout with you today for the Shimmerz Paints design team. I am using the June color kits and I started with the June cut file. Actually, I think it might have been the makeup file. It was a circle, was kind of a scalloped circle, and I ended up using the contour tool on the Cricut to cut it solid instead of having the little scallops cut out, like the little holes cut out. And then I welded a bunch of them together to create this background piece. And then I took patterned papers from the June color kits and cut circles to fill in all of those shapes. And I love how all of those patterned papers together look. So I did distress the edges of the circles before I glued them down. And then that's going to kind of act as the background of the layout. And then here what I'm doing is I'm taking my 3 photos that are going to be on the layout and I'm backing them with white cardstock just as a very thin mat for each of them. And then I'm going to use pattern paper as a larger mat behind them. These 3 photos are from our Greece trip still. We were eating loukoumades in Athens in these pictures. It was one of our food tours. So love this day that I'm scrapping about. And I loved the colors of all the things that we saw in all of the patterned papers. I thought it went really well with the whole thing. So here I am taking those photos and I'm putting them on the orange patterned paper. And then I'm going to create one single mat with that. So I glued them down and then I'm going to trim it down. And then I will distress the edges of that piece. And I chose orange because the 2 circles that I had that were orange on the background were kind of separate from that center section. And so I wanted the photos to kind of stand out. And so I used a color that was contrasting with the colors that were right behind it. So hopefully that makes sense. And then I'm using craft foam to pop up that background cut file. And then I'm going to use craft foam here as well behind the photos to kind of make sure that's all on one level. So there you can kind of see the orange is spread out on the layout. That's why I chose that mat for the photos. And then now what I'm going to do is, and this is backwards, I usually do all of my mixed media first and then put down whatever is going to go on top of it. But for this layout, I did it backwards because I wanted the color to be really tight around the cut file. So I glued that down first, and then I am using all of the beautiful paints in the June color kits, and then I'm going to use a couple of extra colors. I do have all of those colors listed down in the comments below. So the first color I used, that darker pink that goes along with kind of those darker pink or red patterned papers, that was Punchy Pink, an Inklingz Punchy Pink. So the Inklingz come dry and you add water to activate that color and it is absolutely gorgeous. For the light blue that I did next, I used the Vibez Frostbite, and that's a spray, but I just opened it up and used it with my paintbrush. And then the purple was, oh goodness, I forgot to write down the name of the purple, but it's the purple that's in the June color kits, and it is gorgeous. It's I think it might be my favorite purple that we've gotten. So I love that color. And then the lighter pink circles, I used Shimmerz Moulin Rouge, and that is absolutely gorgeous. And then the orange, so there was not an orange in the color kits. So I kind of pulled out some oranges from my stash, and I didn't find a perfect match. So what I ended up doing is I took the Shimmerz Moulin Rouge from the June color kits. And then I also took the Vibez Sunset Strip, which was just an orange from my stash. And I mixed those, and that gave me the perfect burnt orange. So adding the pink to an orange that was a little bit lighter kind of gave it that darker, kind of a more burnt orange look, and it ended up matching really well, the colors. And then for the darker, that periwinkle paper, like that kind of that darker bluish, purplish paper, I ended up using Shimmerz Iris My Case, Creameez Lapis Dance, and then Blingz Pixie Dust, which is white, because I wanted to add a little bit of shimmer to it. So I mixed those 3 colors to get the perfect shade for that paper. And I love how it looks. And then I mixed the orange again, mixed the 2 colors again for the orange to do a little background, do a little paint behind just where the photos were hanging off right there. And then this word Journey is from Heidi Swap. It's a wooden, pretty thick wooden title. And I am just taking some orange embossing powder and adding that to that word. And then I'm going to glue that down. So I heat embossed it off camera, added the heat to make sure that it stuck, and now it's got a glossy finish, and I love how that looks. Okay, and then for the embellishments on this layout, I just pulled out a bunch of things that I had from my stash because I wanted to have a travel theme, because of course I'm on a food tour in another country and it's a travel layout. And so I kind of wanted some travel themed things to go along with that journey title. So I pulled out things, I think it's Echo Park, Away We Go. And then there's several other pieces. So they were just kind of random, pulled out some simple stories, a couple of things. And anyway, there were a bunch of little things in there, but I mixed and matched some things, and I loved getting rid of some things that I had just sitting around, which was good. It's always fun to go through your stash and combine things. So I added that little card up above that says Nowhere Else I'd Rather Be. And then that little pink banner piece that's going to sit right above it says Let's Go Anywhere. But first, before I glue that down, I'm going to add some purple thread. So I pulled out, for this layout, I did pull out threads in kind of all the main colors, purple, blue, that reddish color, and then orange. I think I've got some orange in there too. Yes. So I'm going to kind of put those around behind things. I love how that looks. And the layout, the embellishments are going to be kind of like top left to bottom right. I did leave a lot of white space on this layout. You can kind of see in all the corners, there's a bunch of white space because it's so busy. There's a lot going on the background. I kind of made sure that all of the embellishments and everything were piled up on top of the kind of all of the visual interest that was already on the layout. So I didn't really want the embellishments and things to expand very much further than the circles already do, because it was already pretty busy. So hopefully that makes sense. Everything's on top of what I've already got going on. Added that little tag that says Go See Do. Love how that looks. And I did add purple embroidery thread at first to that tag, but it was too dark. So I'm going to go back in a second and change that out for a lighter pink. I didn't have quite enough. I wanted a light purple. I didn't really have one that was light enough. So sounds like a shopping trip in my future is what that sounds like to me. Okay, so I added some thread down here below that tag. And I had a couple of little wooden pieces that I had painted with some of the Shimmerz paints that were also for my stash, but they ended up being too dark. I didn't like how you couldn't read the words, so I ended up not using those, but that's kind of what I was playing around with right there, trying to find a place for it. Tucking in a little light blue thread right there. And I love how all the thread colors look with the Shimmerz paints and the pattern papers too. They all go very well together. I do use my straight edge ruler for things when I want them to actually be straight. A lot of times I don't care if things are straight, but if I want them to be, they have to be perfect. Otherwise it'll drive me crazy every time I look at it. So, okay, there I added the pink thread. And then added a few more little brads and things. Those are the adhesive brads. Added a couple more puffy stickers and things. I think that's gonna be, I'm gonna add, well, of course I have to add pops of color. So I pulled those out in all the coordinating colors and added some pops of color to the layout. And then I think that's gonna wrap it up. So here is some close-up video of that. Hopefully you can see all of those details. This collection, this June collection, is absolutely beautiful. They're all of the patterned papers that these vivid bright colors that you see here. They also have really beautiful wildflowers on the back. So I didn't use any of the wildflower sides. It was kind of funny. This month I used all of just the more bold, solid patterns, but I love how those look together and create such a fun layout. Remember, if you place a Shimmerz order, if you put my name, Sarah Millerhouse, in the comment line, you can get a free gift. And if you have any questions, let me know. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.